What's going on, Pisces? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a fantastic month so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just incredible, Pisces. And it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. And let me tell you why, Pisces. Because it is Celestial News Monthly! If you can't tell, this is like, well, after this month, my birthday, this is like one of my favorite times of the month, Pisces. And I was telling, what was I telling? I think I was telling Virgo and Gemini, I was just like, I picture everyone's like, when I'm getting all hyped up, I'm hoping everyone's like, heck yeah, Celestial News Monthly. Alright, enough of that, Pisces. But with this monthly spread, whenever the sun moves into a new sign, we're going to talk about where the planets are at and how we can work with the energies. And just so y'all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Pisces. So Pisces, I have oracle cards with each of the zodiac signs that the planets are in laid out here. I'm going to pull an oracle card from this deck for each of them, and then we'll get some details with the tarot. But before we jump into this thing, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situation, okay? Dope. And in case if y'all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, I've included links. Oh, I got to include a link for this one. Included links for them, for a majority of them, down in the description box below. So definitely check that out if you're interested, Pisces. But also, I included a link down there for some other readers that I like as well, Pisces. So check, give them a check out. Actually, one of them just was on a hiatus for a little bit, but is now back to posting some stuff there, Pisces. So definitely check that out. But let's talk about, before we get into your first card here, let's talk about the party that Leo is throwing, because their ruler, the sun, is coming back home. And then Venus is going to be doing her, oh, let's see, I'm running out of dance moves here. Her retrograde, I guess her retrograde ballroom dance. I don't know. I'm running out of dance stuff here, Pisces. Bear with me. But let's get down to business. Because with the sun being back at home, sun's going to enter Leo on the 22nd of July at about 8:50 in that'll be Central Time, and then we'll be there until the 23rd of August. And with the sun coming back home, this is like I feel like this is going to be a very revitalizing energy especially for Leos, but definitely for the soul tribe, because now the sun, having made his trek through all the zodiac signs, is just like whew, now I can just like relax a little bit, just really kind of shine bright, not really have to worry about what other energies he needs to be in. So I feel like this is a great one for just like really experiencing life and just like having fun and enjoying all of the things that bring you sunlight and really kind of bring your bring in really good energy for being in, just like getting in that more enthusiastic, not to say that you're not enthusiastic there, Pisces, but get into channel that charismatic type of energy that Leo has as well. And great energy for playing, for creating, really kind of tap into that like inner child energy, and a great energy for love as well as for romance. And I mean, yours is also a great sign for romance. I mean, you're so compassionate, so loving, Pisces. So this could be a great energy for that as well. But then we have, and speaking of relationships, we do have Venus to go in retrograde, the Empress in Leo. She's going to be going retrograde on the same day as the sun is entering, on the 22nd of July, and will be there through the 3rd of September. And with this energy, this is going to be, I really feel like for you too, Pisces, this is going to be an amazing energy for you, because your sign is already very imaginative, being ruled by both Jupiter and Neptune. I feel like it's like your dreams are just like forever expanding, and that's a really wonderful, because some people will say Pisces has like modern ruler, or Neptune as opposed to the traditional one, Jupiter. I feel like you're cool enough to have both, and that's really saying, and I feel like honestly that's what makes you extra special, Pisces. But you with Venus being in such an artistic sign as Leo, this is a great energy for you to find different avenues to express yourself, you know, whether this be through art, through technology, through mechanics, through math, whatever this is, like through law, you know, just really kind of going out there and just like really living your true self, you know, becoming the artist of your life and doing it with confidence, you know, and really just create a space too of self-love, you know, really kind of again focus on that esteem and, you know, that courage, that bravery that Leo energy brings. And then also you may notice too, Pisces, because of retrogrades, you know, we're going backwards a little bit. You may notice that some old relationships do kind of fling up from or pop up from the past, and I don't just mean in like in a romantic sense. This could be maybe like a friend from like you went to school with, or maybe happened to do in the military, or any sort of like maybe even like a past coworker may just kind of hit you up, was thinking about your, Pisces, or maybe even vice versa. Maybe you've been thinking about someone from your past and been meaning to reach out to them. I mean, it could be a great energy for reconnecting, Pisces. So something to think about there. Now let's get to your card, which is one of Cancer's cards here. You got the second card of Cancer, which is the telephone card. And with this card, oh, how funny, we're just talking about that. It's a card of connection, communication, conversation, getting through, two-way street, message, vocal, loud and clear, reaching out, notification, throat chakra, inner voice, and rings a bell. And the energy that's popping up here, Pisces, is the two-way street. And I feel like partway there's maybe for some, this could be in like a relationship standpoint where it's just like we're getting that reciprocity, that like Six of Pentacles energy, where we feel like that we're being heard as and in being listened, or no, just same thing, being heard as well as listening to what others have to say, Pisces. So this could be, even if this is not in a romantic context, this could be familial, business, but I feel like it might be kind of checking to see how do things seem a little more one-sided, and if so, how can we adjust that? I feel like it's one thing if that's just sort of like the dynamic maybe that you have. Maybe you know someone who's a little more shy, or maybe you might be a little more shy, Pisces, and might just be more of an active listener and such. But I do feel like even in that, where that's, I feel like it's fine. Every now and again, I feel like, you know, if you're in a relationship where it's like someone just kind of like gives and gives all the time, you're just kind of like receiving all that all the time, it's like that gets exhausting after a while. And I feel like every now and again, you know, just like sharing, let's say if you've been keeping kind of like maybe keeping stuff close to the chest there, Pisces, because I get it, you know, being a water sign, we want to kind of keep our stuff pretty safe there. But I feel like it's, you know, trust your intuition. If you notice that someone is divulging stuff towards you, and that it seems very open, very honest, you know, feels like because the throat chakra was kind of coming through to me too, but it feels like it's almost really kind of, it's more so listening to the nuances of the conversations, to not just the words that are coming out, but what are the feelings, you know, are there any kind of gestures, you know, really kind of taking all of that in, you know, what's, even thinking of, yeah, just even knowing what they're going through, just like kind of really kind of tapping into that Cancerian energy in a sense, that, because you feel, you know, us water signs, we do all feel in a very similar way. It's very similar but very different. But I feel like on a baseline, we do have a way of like feeling. My sun signs in Cancer, and we do have a way of kind of feeling out the conversations a little bit more, kind of seeing beneath the surface. So I feel like if you notice that, you know, because another thing with your sign is that being as compassionate as you are, that sometimes it can be where it can feel like maybe others try to take advantage of you, possibly. Maybe that's something where we've been kind of guarded. Maybe we've had some lessons in the past that have, you know, just kind of keep, you know, just again, and I feel like that's to be fair, but I do feel like that if someone is coming through with that honesty, you know, really kind of speaking, I just don't feel like they're just speaking, but, you know, like being mindful, being thoughtful with how they're talking with you. I feel that that's something where we want to make sure that there's that kind of going there, and if we're feeling that, once we recognize that level, it's just like just matching the energies there, Pisces. Well, let's get some tarot on this and get some more on that. And sidebar, Pisces, I've been telling all the signs this. I got these cards not too long ago, and where the art on these cards are super cool. They were an interesting thing to shuffle there for a while. That took a minute. I had to practice that for sure, but I hope you'll like them, Pisces. They are pretty dope cards. Oh, thank you. Alright, Pisces. Let's see what we got here. Nice, okay. Interesting. Okay, Pisces. So you have the Seven of Cups, the Knight of Wands, the Nine of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and then the Six of Cups here. And this is interesting, Pisces, because with the Nine of Swords being here, I feel like that maybe there, for some, that maybe we've been... It almost feels like that we've been kind of stuck in our heads in a sense of just like, are we... Are we able to trust someone? I feel like this is an energy of trust here, like, because the Nine of Swords can be like a card of a nightmare, really kind of stuck in our heads here. And I feel like that with the Knight of Cups, maybe for some, if this is like, and again, this doesn't have to be in a romantic sense, but it feels like that maybe if we're worried that it's like we're trying like to Knight of Cups here, give our hearts out. Maybe you're type to wear your heart on your sleeve, and then maybe when things get too intense, maybe the other person kind of like dips out or kind of pulls back, like Knight of Wands, sort of like a... I'm not it's an interesting energy that that's coming through here, Pisces, because it even feels like that maybe something may have happened where maybe energies kind of came on too strong at first. Like, for example, this is a relationship. Maybe there was a lot of like passion and a lot of feelings that kind of came up at first, and it created this sort of things sort of, I don't know, it kind of maybe blew up to bigger than we thought it was going to, and then at some point things just sort of departed ways. I'm not sure, or maybe there's this fear of maybe even like of things, I don't know, just like departing or something along those lines. But I feel that if this is something that we're afraid of happening, you know, maybe that, you know, giving... Yeah, it almost feels like that. Just like, yeah, there's a fear of just like afraid of giving ourselves out there. And I'm not sure, Pisces, but it gives me the sense of that there's a sense of worry that maybe we'll have that maybe our choices might be limited because there's this lack of trust or something like that. But I feel that there is this energy here of, if we've had experiences like that, it's taking a moment and reflecting on this stuff with the Six of Cups. Like, what was going down in that moment that caused this, that maybe caused that miscommunication, or it's not even that I feel like it's a miscommunication or understanding, but let me get a little bit more on this Knight of Wands here, Pisces. Thank you. So you got here, Pisces. Interesting. So you got the Knight of Wands is clarified by the Ten of Swords and then the King of Pentacles here. And it seemed like at first, like it feels like that maybe for some we were presented something stable. You know, there was this yes, stability here, this foundation. And then it just feels like, especially with the 9 and the 10 of Swords here, that this energy just sort of like, it's like the rug just got pulled from underneath us or something along those lines. And now it seems that experience has shaped this energy, or could maybe potentially. And that's not, it's not that I don't feel that there's a betrayal or anything like that that's coming, Pisces, but it just more so feels like this has been maybe a mode of operating that's just gotten us to this place of, it feels like that we're trying to move on, but it seems like that that a cycle is still possibly it's repeating itself, or we're trying to figure and we're trying to either figure out or have been working on trying to figure out what the source of that is or something, and like how do we break out of this process. But it feels like with whatever this is, because it feels like whatever this is with the Knight of Cups, considering that this happened with on the Sun in Leo too, there's something that's needing a light to shine on, or there's a thought process that we've, or a way that we've been operating, or a way of been thinking that has been, I don't know, that it's led to this state of, again, just of distrust or something along those lines. And this could even be too, maybe there was a thing with, maybe there's been like even like an energy, because sometimes with the Seven of Cups this can be like a card of escapism as well, debauchery, getting into like this sometimes can be like a prelude to a devil moment. And it doesn't just necessarily have to be mixed up in like drug, sex, alcohol and things. This could be in, you know, maybe more sort of like low vibratory thoughts where we're bringing ourselves down, or, you know, being self-deprecating or something along those lines. So I feel like there's something where maybe even this two-way street, this throat chakra, is like being honest with ourselves, maybe even possibly, or something like that, that there's something that's needing healing, you know, with this Ten of Swords here, because even though he's got this swords in his back, he's still persevering through this, you know, he's still trying to figure this out, facing this stuff, whatever this is, maybe even like some recurring, this could be even, you know, because sometimes even with the Six of Cups, this can be even like getting back to childhood memories. So maybe this is something sort of ingrained, or in Cancerian energy is rooted in the home. Whatever this is, Pisces, I do feel that there is growth that can come from it, but it is going to feel, I feel like it's going to be a process, and it's going to be one where we have to work on trying to get these thoughts adjusted, because your thoughts are powerful, and the thoughts are going to affect how you feel, Pisces. And you know how water signs feel is very important as well. You know what we're feeling, we're attracting. So, and just one other thing, just kind of you know, yours is a sign of, you know, being associated with like the 12th house and things that can deal with like asylums and hospitals and things along those lines. And there's even an energy here too, because the Six of Cups for me can be like almost like sharing like the, on a kind of a little bit of a brighter note here, it can be, I feel like almost an energy of like giving people options, you know, where like returning hope to others. Because yours, when I was talking about that, all that 12th house stuff and things, like yours is a sign of heal. You're great healers, and you know, and it's not to say that you need to go in like healthcare or, you know, anything along those lines, but maybe some are thinking along, or like finding ways to maybe help others, you know, cope with maybe like different kind of like thought processes, or like, you know, different habits, or maybe even addictions and things along those lines. Or, and if I feel like that's something, if it's your heart, you know, if your heart and your passion are really, because the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Wands, they're very passionate type of energies here, very fueled by their hearts and their feelings. And you know, if this is something that is speaking to you, I feel like that would be, what a lovely thing to spread, Pisces, into. Because King of Pentacles too, so you look at you spreading abundance all around here, and abundance manifests in all forms. So just a little something else to think about there, Pisces. How you could even turn something that happened to you and maybe be that person for someone else to kind of help, and then it's like a dual type of healing that's going on there, Pisces. That'd even be pretty cool. But okie dokie, whew. Hope that made sense. A lot of energy there, Pisces. Let's get some tea poured, and let's talk about Virgo energy, because this is going to be a kind of a tricky one for you here, Pisces, because you got Mars that's been in Virgo for a little while, and then you have Mercury that's getting ready to enter Virgo here soon. And Mercury, let's start with their ruler, because Mercury is going to enter Virgo on the 28th of July and will be there through the 4th of October. And Mercury ruling over Virgo, you know, Mercury rules over Gemini and Virgo, and Gemini energy, where it's like that curious type of that early childhood learning, that curious, you know, always like just looking for things, kind of free flowing type of energy. Virgo energy, where just as smart but just a little more grounded instead. And this is going to be an incredibly productive cycle for us. I feel, you know, our minds are going to be a lot sharper. And Virgo being, you know, so organized, detail oriented, analytical, things along those lines. Very great energy that our power of like of analysis, you know, is going to improve, and our communication is going to become a lot clearer, which I'm all about that. And then, you know, Virgo is also about a sign of service. And, you know, when you think about Mars, Mars is going to be in Virgo until the 27th of August. And just thinking about, like, it's like our thought process is lining up with our actions, you know, right now with this with these two being in Virgo for the next couple of weeks here, you know, towards the end of August. And this can be not only a great energy for getting ourselves in order, getting things detailed, working out all the monotonous things and whatnot. This could be, Virgos are also a sign of service. They're your opposite sign, and they're also ones of, you know, helping bringing that perfection, you know, that helping bringing out the perfect aspect out of everyone. They're King of Pentacles here, and yeah, I feel like it's going to be a very just kind of efficient time for the soul tribe right now. But it may be a little tricky for you, Pisces, just because Virgo is your opposite sign, and depending on where your Pisces placements are at, this is going to be forming an opposition with your sign, and that's going to bring about polarity and tension. Is very dynamic energy. It brings about challenges and conflicts. It's going to be one of those things where it's like a situation or even like a person will put you in a place where you need to make some decisions. You know, got some choices to make, and you know, there may be some uncertainty, some wavering. So I feel like this is going to be one where really trust your intuition, where your heart's trying to guide you, and you know, it's one that I feel like we can learn a lot from our opposite signs and how they operate. So just something to think about there. But let's get your oracle card and see what how we can work with this energy here. Let's see what we got here. Interesting. Okay, so you got the fourth card of Aquarius here, which is the corset card. And with this card, this is a card of held together, boundaries, restriction, prim and proper, following rules, structured, buttoned up, perfect posture, holding it together. Every time I read that, I was like, kind of make sure it's like, oh, where's my posture at? Support, shapeshift, and people pleaser. And the energy that's popping through here, Pisces, is the people pleaser. And I feel like since we were talking about that two-way street earlier, just if we've been in this place of where we've been maybe kind of like being like overly accommodating towards others, where I'm all for raising the vibration and doing the things and, you know, being of service and stuff. You got to make sure that you're filling up your cups too as well, Pisces, especially if you got a lot of stuff on your mind, and, you know, maybe been accumulating a lot. And the thing too, Pisces, with your sign, and this is because especially if you got either, you know, your Pisces placements or even got some like 12th house placements, where it is nice to be of service and things, we got to make sure that we're pulling back and just kind of checking in with your energy, because similar to Cancer and Scorpio, you know, you really can take on the energies of others, and sometimes we can pick up things that aren't even that we can really manifest as our own, and that's not, you know, that's where, you know, taking those moments of meditation, maybe even doing some journaling, you know, however that's looking like, you know, I feel like that can help kind of just divide, just making sure that you're you're being a priority. But also pay attention to that if we notice that, again, that are maybe people that are possibly taking advantage of us, or maybe, maybe they, I don't know, it feels like that they would be the type where, for example, let's say if you're the type that always tends to pick up like shifts for work and things along those lines, you're like the go-to. And then the one time that you're not, everyone really gives you a hard time. It's just like, well, wait a minute, how come no one else gives a hard time when old people calling off? You know, like, it gives me that type of energy. And I feel that we just want to be be wary of just like being like the yes man or yes person all the time. You know, sometimes, you know, if you really don't feel like it, it's okay to say no. And I know you know that, but sometimes there's this like, maybe even sometimes there could be even be this energy of like this unconscious guilt, maybe even, or something along those lines. You know, maybe that could be another thing that we may have picked up from the past with the Six of Cups energy. So I feel like don't be afraid to speak your truth there, Pisces, and make things be loud and clear about, you know, what your boundaries are and things along those lines. But let's get some tarot on this and get some details. Let's see what we got here. Interesting. All right, you racking up got all the Gemini swords here. So you have the Eight of Swords, the Seven of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, and then the Three of Pentacles here, Pisces. And this is interesting energy here, because yeah, to have the 8, 9, and 10 of Swords here, that's a lot of heavy thinking energy here, and I'm not sure if this is something where if we haven't been in a state of, or haven't had to like, this almost feels like that maybe for some, let me put it this way, that maybe for some we've been in this state of thinking about let's say our security, for example. Maybe we haven't been feeling financially stable, or maybe we're in a state of like unemployment right now, or maybe there's whatever, something heavy, you know, maybe that's going down right now, that's really kind of just like getting into this place of just a self-doubt, of or feeling just impoverished or something along those lines. I feel that the thing with this energy is when we get caught up in the challenge, that's not what the universe is trying to get you to do. It's because I'm just thinking about with Aquarius, they're ruled by Saturn and by Uranus. Saturn's planet of restriction just on a base level, and Uranus is one of the aspects is the future. And I feel like that's sometimes, let's say for example, if this is bills, you know, we can get so caught up with like, how am I going to pay these bills, how am I going to do this, how am I going to do that, that we stay caught up in that energy, as opposed to figuring out what we're actually going to do about it, you know, as far as like if we need to. And this could be something too where maybe we need to ask for help, you know, with the Three of Pentacles. This could be even just like, even if this is not like assistance like that, maybe if it's just like ideas, you know, like working with different type of just if there's a building, for example, you know, looking for different sort of like outlets. I just actually, someone just sent me something where this guy was talking about how if you Google, oh goodness, like I'd have to look it up again. It was like, you know, past residence and a state that you lived in, that you can get some kind of unclaimed money, just random things like that. You know, it's yeah, because with the 8, 9, and 10 of Swords here, it's just like the 8 of Swords builds the cage, and then it's like the 9 of Swords, we've been steeping in it, just really just, you know, steeping in it for a while, and now it's gotten to this place of where we don't see how we can get back up, and then we criticize ourselves for it. It becomes a whole spiral here, Pisces, and because I was even thinking just like, man, like how do we even get all up in that? And I feel like that's where I was talking about sometimes with these energies that we pick up too, that this can be stuff that we've taken on as ourselves. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's you've ever been around where someone gets really angry, and then all of a sudden you notice that you're picking that up too, that you're feeling that like oh, like I'm ready to fight or something along those lines. Like it's that type of energy, but it can happen in many forms. And especially if you are, maybe this is somewhere we are in a state of like working in a place of service and things, or something along those lines, just making sure that we're cleansing our energies even. But if you are in something, Pisces, it's realizing that you this stuff is meant to help you tap into your resources. You know, we're in the opposition energy here right now, and we do have choices. We could either keep, be almost like, it's almost, instead of like fearing the future is what we build in the present, and it's just like figuring out what we can control right now. It's getting a game plan, staying strong in your energy, realizing that you do got this. You're not, it's going to take some work, absolutely, with the Three of Pentacles, but it's one that we can get out of this thing, Pisces. And I feel like too, just going back to kind of like the people pleaser here. I think I kind of got off on a little pocket there, but with the people pleaser as well, I feel like this almost seems like that some maybe even like imposing kind of thoughts on you or something. Like maybe there's a lot of criticism, or maybe trying to make you feel less than, and it doesn't. I don't even feel like it has to be anything like even malicious, or like very overt. This could be sort of like more sort of subtle type of like little jabs or things like along those lines. And that's where I feel like it was like that, paying attention to like the throat chakra, paying attention to how others are communicating their words to you, listening to paying attention. I was just telling another sign this, but like paying attention to like the body language and how, just really kind of really being present in what's being displayed, and kind of seeing something for what it is there. And that's very interesting. I think I'm gonna pull out of that, Pisces, but you're just being mindful to just with all this sword energy here. Just remember that your thoughts are powerful, and just as we may have gotten in this spiral, we can absolutely get out of this thing too. So just something to think about there. But let's get on to the next energy here, which is Taurus. Because we got one of your rulers there, Jupiter in Taurus, and then we got Uranus in Taurus. And your ruler, Jupiter, is going to be in there until May 25th of 2025, next year, 2024. And with Jupiter being in Taurus, this is an energy of figuring out, because Taurus, one of their main aspects is security. And this is asking ourselves, if we haven't, let's say, for example, since we're talking about bills and things, maybe if we're not feeling financially stable, doing the research. Jupiter is about expansion of higher learning, growth. And if that's something where we notice that maybe we're having trouble with money management or things, looking maybe to different, like, 'cause there's a body, you can find some free courses on there, Pisces, and figure out how we can maybe be more effective with our money, or maybe even like working with someone, with the Three of Pentacles to maybe help you out with this. Or this could be, it's the purpose is, this can even be like a self-esteem thing, if we're getting this place of that, we notice we it's like maybe learning different coping mechanisms, or just like maybe healthier ways of working through this process here. But as long as we are working towards doing that, like that long-term growth, kind of really compounding these skills here, then that's Jupiter's all, like, you're all good in Jupiter's book. And the thing too, Pisces, to remember, since we were talking about all these swords here, the tricky thing with your ruler, and I was actually I think I've been telling this to the majority of the zodiacs, but I definitely was telling this to Sagittarius. They're also ruled by Jupiter, where Jupiter is abundant, very abundant. He doesn't discriminate as far as what he's giving out as what you define as abundance. And if we're in that sort of like caught in that more sort of low vibratory state, where it's just like we're in that sort of like sense of lack, or state of feeling like we're not secure in things, and that's the energy that's going to permeate, and then the energy that'll keep perpetuating all the time. But it's like, as soon as we shift this thing up, because it may sound like, oh, we're attracting all this stuff and bringing it on our, like we want to be in this stuff, and that's not even the case. It's saying that we do have more control than we do realize, but it does take, again, some work to get into that routine and things, that Virgo energy, that the King of Pentacles, but we can get to that foundation. And then you couple that with Uranus being in Taurus until 2025, or about early July. And Uranus and Taurus has been shaking up the foundation since 2018. I mean, just really from the whole thing with COVID to the how we work to even like all stuff going on with this food thing. I think there's going to be maybe a lot of changes with that even coming up here soon with all the prices going up. And I was actually had a conversation with someone like maybe this is almost about a month ago where it's like really thinking about investing in like beans and rice and things, like real kind of like non-perishable, so that you're good for a little while. Not the fact that it's not put in like a state of fear. Just thinking about these things, working with the energies. This could even be too thinking about, since we talked about that, maybe we think about starting ourselves a little garden, maybe growing some herbs on the side, some peppers. My stepdad's actually been going to work in the garden, so that's been pretty cool. But just thinking about all the ways that, because Uranus brings in the future, like I was saying, he brings in that change, and also it is an energy of freedom. So I feel like, especially for some, we've been maybe feeling at like the mercy of others. This is the time to just break free and figure out how we can put up boundaries and all types of growth here. But we're getting ready to get into like the age of Aquarius, and where it's going to be a very futuristic, innovative time here. And so we've got to be, and lucky for you, being the adaptable sign of water, I mean, you really are just can breeze through this thing with ease. So definitely work with this energy here, Pisces. But let's get an oracle card on this and get some details. Thank you. Oh, look at that, Age of Aquarius. See, I told you. You got the 7th card of Aquarius here, which is the Optical Illusion card. Which, that's fascinating. Which, this is the card of Not What It Seems, Mirage, Trap, Unclear, Visual Effect, Confusion, Head Trip, Trick, Hallucination, Hocus Pocus, Sleight of Hand, Projection, and Predictive Programming. And the energy that's popping through here, Pisces, is not what it seems. And I feel like that's got to be an interesting... Because listen, Pisces, I don't have any Pisces placements, but I do have some stuff in the 12th house. And that deals with like the hidden realm. Neptune energy is very tricky with how she works. It's that unseen, that stuff that's tucked away from us. It could even deal with like karma, escapism. It's Neptune really embodies. It's like she's like an interesting singer. I'm excited to talk about her next, because that's been... But I feel like, Pisces, it's let's get back in control here. It's remembering that you are in control. It's that, in a sense of like, we may not be able to control external situations. It's been like the theme here, but we can control how we feel about them, what we think about, or our thought processes are at, because that's where the true power is. That's how we can take these feelings that we have and these situations that go down, and then use them as fuel to manifest something different. And now that I feel that, because Neptune, I know we're going to get into it in a second, but it's like the veil has been lifted right now, Pisces, and I really feel like you are in particularly in a great place of accessing that spiritual realm for guidance, to learn from the Virgo aspect of yourself, because and that's an interesting thing for you when we think about our opposites, because I feel like for you, you're being already a spiritual dreamy sign. It's how do we take that energy and ground it and get that to where you can work that into your everyday life, you know what I mean? Whether this is through meditation, whether this is through guidance, teaching, healing, whatever this is, Pisces. And then I feel like that there's something. So let's get some tarot on this, Pisces. Let's see what we got here. Interesting. Ooh, speaking of opposites, so Pisces, before we even get into that, You got the Emperor and you got Justice. That's Aries and that's Libra. They are the opposites of the Zodiac. And this, if I'm not mistaken, that's your first major arcana cards. So I really feel like that there is this emphasis of your choices that are going to be made here over while we got all this. I feel like not even just with Mars and Mercury being in Virgo, I feel like this is the start of getting things in routine, but I feel like once we really get into Virgo season, that this can be an energy of, let's just talk about it. You got the Emperor, the Justice card, the Three of Wands, and the Eight of Cups. And with the Eight of Cups, this is Saturn in Pisces. And this energy, your energy's been going around a lot, Pisces. And I feel that this can be something where it's thinking about what do we need to, maybe either some thought process or things that we need to let go, maybe some habits, maybe some addictive things that are just preventing us from rising above and bringing balance, and I really feel like that this is something where it's like the Justice card here is like a card of cause and effect. You know, it's a reader said this beautifully and I really liked it. It's being the change we want to be in the world. And I feel that this energy here is just like there is it's realizing that your thoughts and things can limit your expansion, and how that when you allow yourself to and free yourself of the things that are holding you back, that your potential is limitless. You know, you can really achieve greatness and get into this state of, and listen, Pisces, I know where I got a bunch of Leo in my chart, and I know it sounds like I can be over exaggerating things, but we really are in an age where why not? You know, it's like it may not be exactly to that extent, but what a thing to aim for though. And what does that look like? How do we get that stuff to happen? You know what I mean? Maybe this is, and this is something where I was even talking about, like, maybe even us wanting to be of service. The Justice card can be Libra energy, is they're all about justice. If there's any sort of imbalance that's going on in the world, or any sort of like they're helping out the underdog, if any sort of like oppression or anything along those lines. So I feel that it almost feels like that especially if we've been kind of keeping, and being you, Pisces, if you've been keeping yourself down, or maybe been in this self-deprecating place or something, or maybe if this is something with others, it's just like how can we let this thing go, and then watch how this, I feel like you really would surprise yourself as far as like when you realize that your choices, how when you make these choices of change, that you can really get this sense of like autonomy back, and then really see through the veil, see through for some others. I do feel that there is something with, let me get a little bit more on the Justice card here, Pisces, because there's something else. Hold on. Thank you. Okay, hold on, Pisces. Let's see what else we got here. Interesting. Okay, so when you're heating up here. So the Page of Cups is clarified by the Justice is clarified by the Page of Cups, and then you got the Strength card here, Pisces. And when I think of the Page of Cups, I do think of Pisces. It gives me very Pisces vibes, as far as just like this energy feels like it's like reclaiming a sense of your confidence here. There's something about like almost like even like creating a safe space for you, or something along those lines, or a need to even retreat or something like that, Pisces. But you're very interesting energy here, Pisces. I hope that made sense. That even felt like an illusion there, or maybe maybe that's okay. There it is. One other thing, this feels like that maybe for some, if we have a dream that doesn't feel clear, that it seems very out of reach, and that it's I don't know. It's like that we're having troubles bringing it to the ground. I almost feel like that there's this need of, maybe with the Justice card, maybe bouncing some ideas off of some people, or something along those lines. But I do feel like that the Emperor is urging you to take action, to allow this stuff, to allow yourself to bring your dreams into being. And if it seems too fantastic, it's just like, okay, well, how do we condense it a little bit, and then maybe once we get it grounded, then we can really start cooking. So. And you know what? That's perfect with, because since you got, oh, where'd your Eight of Cups go? Since you got Eight of Cups here, Saturn and Pisces, let's talk about your energy, Pisces, because you got, oh crap, Pisces, I forgot to tell you about this Taurus energy, because depending on where your Pisces placements are at, this is going to be forming a sextile with your signs. And sextiles, where they're very fortunate energies. They can be very easy flowing, collaborative energy, but it's passive. You know, it's not very dynamic. It's one that we're going to need to take action. Emperor. And when we see opportunities for change or just for growth or something along those lines, I feel like that sextiles, they bring that potential, but that's all they are, is potential. They're like the aces. You got to do something with them, otherwise they just sit there, you know, and then they don't feel any kind of way about it. It's just like, okay, but you know, but it's just something to think about there with that energy. But it can really play to your advantage here, Pisces. But Saturn and Neptune are retrograde in your sign. Saturn's going to be retrograde in Pisces until the 4th of November. And with this energy, for those of you, I feel like, who've been thinking about this dream and things, it has been, and just in general, if we've been thinking about any sort of growth or whatever that's looking like, you know, Saturn asks us, what have we been doing with our lives up until now? You know, what have you accomplished? What dreams have you made manifest? And if we don't feel like we're on track, or have maybe gotten, you know, maybe kind of maybe just gotten off the, you know, the chariot's kind of diverted a little bit. It's just like, how can we get this thing back? What do we need to let go? What do we need to do to get back towards our highest vibration? But also, this is a great energy for you, because your energy, I mean, you're borderline psychic, Pisces. It really is, we're in a very type of spiritual energy right now, and really getting in touch with who you are and bringing that, tapping into that inner strength there, I feel like is going to be very interesting for you, because you are in, but before we talk about that, the bigger one, Neptune, your other ruler, is going to be retrograde until the 6th of December. And this, I feel, is going to be, it's lovely for the water signs, but I feel like especially for you, Pisces, because where Neptune deals with those illusions, that dream world, that the stuff realm that maintains hidden, you know, the illusory palace, you know, it's, now that she's retrograde, it's almost like that the veil's been lifted. It's just like, now you can peek behind the curtain and see what's really going down here, you know, like how we can really get in touch with the source, Pisces, and really form this really unique, this really deep bond of oneness with the universe. And I know how that sounds. I know, right? That sounds very fantastic. And it's just like, how do we ground that? You know, what does that look like? You know, and it's, and Pisces, depending on where your Pisces placements are at, this is forming a conjunction with your sign. And conjunctions are very interesting. That's the strongest blend of energies. You know, it's tapping into, let's say, for example, since Saturn, you know, just freshly entered your sign and is retrograding pretty much back to almost the beginning before he starts back over again. Your energies are going to take on more of that Saturn flavor, that authoritative. So if you have a sun sign in Cancer, you know, or in Cancer, in Pisces, it'll give off that more kind of authoritative air. You know, those qualities that deal with Saturn. So in those changes can be, while they're integrating, can feel a little weird, you know, it's a little different, and it can bring about some energies of anxiety possibly, and you know, it's interesting, but it's one of those things. It's relaxing into the energies and realizing that this is all a part of the growth here. You know, it's all, you know, life is nothing. It brings about change all the time, and this is a wonderful energy that's happening here, Pisces. But let's get an oracle on this. Oh, speaking of Libra, I'm with it. Because you got the 4th card of Libras here, and that's how you manifest it, Pisces, which is the Yoga card. And with this card, this is a card of contemplation, deep breath, centered, go within, steady, balanced, relax, take a break, inner child healing, meditate, time alone, balanced chakras, reflection, wellness, and rest. And I feel like Pisces, it's finding time for that. You know, I feel like it's one thing to be, it's finding a balance, I feel like, for you with this energy, because I feel like if we get too caught up in the meditation and things, we may want to check out from reality and not deal with that, because that could even be a form of, potentially even become like, because you can overindulge in anything, Pisces, even healing and meditation and things. So it's finding a balance of, once we have taking time to heal, going back out there and trying to figure out how we can be of service, how we can raise the vibration. What does that look like, you know? But I do feel like there's this strong sense of learning with going within, because the only way to discover that balance is to ask ourselves those questions and to really get a stronger understanding of who you are. Find if there are, because we think we're talking about earlier that with the Six of Cups, if there is any sort of like inner child healing or any sort of wounds, considering we start off with all these swords, and the fact that you do have all this air energy here, it's there's the, you know, there's a lot going on. So I do feel that there is a need to maybe just find, you know, remember to take deep breaths when things feel stressful, you know, like carve out times for meditation alone, and also aloneness, and so that you can find that oneness and be, yeah, balance energy here, Pisces. But I love it. That's pretty much what you're, I love how that's synced to this. One of my favorite cards of Libras. But let's get into some tarot here. Pisces, let's see what we got here. Oh, there's Saturn. I love it. Alright, Pisces. So you have, interesting. So you have the Two of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, ooh, the Ten of Pentacles, and then the World here. And I feel like that Saturn, probably for these next few years, Pisces, while Saturn is in your sign and afterwards, but especially during, that you are in a state of figuring out where do you want to take this next step in your life. You know, what is the next next stop on your journey here. You know, this is a time to really, and I just don't mean in just like, I mean really like thinking Ten of Pentacles vibes, you know, really starting to get into that idea of like, what do I want to leave behind? You know, what areas do I want to grow in and manifest? Because the Nine of Pentacles is working towards your pre-Empress energy. There's been quite a bit of Nine of Pentacles going around here, and that's Virgo energy, and I feel like it's because we're getting ready to get into this Virgo energy, and it's getting these energies into flow, you know, really kind of understanding how you manifest, how you, because look at all these affinity signs here. You got infinity on the Two of Pentacles, on the Strength card here, really getting your energies into this flow and grooving with the universe here, Pisces. And I do feel that there's, with the, considering all these heavy pentacles here, it's taking, you know, your dreams and your thoughts and stuff and making them manifest, whether this be maybe you want to get to a place where you're running like 3 miles, you know, regularly, or maybe you want to run a marathon, or maybe you want to, I don't know, change up your, you know, maybe eat maybe even like change up your diet to, you know, like eat more kind of like fresh foods and things, or maybe it's career, like whatever this is looking like, you know, whatever new opportunities you want to get to, it's thinking towards the future, thinking about how we're going to tackle this stuff. And I'm with it, Pisces. I think that's all I got there. That's and I love that. Yeah, a lot of Saturn energy going through, a lot of your energy I've noticed in a lot of this reading. So I do feel like these next few years up until 2025 is going to be really really fascinating time here, Pisces. But let's talk about the last energy here, which is Pluto. Pluto's bringing the most trouble here, because Pluto, is going to be retrograde in Capricorn until the 10th of October. And with Pluto being retrograde in Capricorn, especially for in whatever aspects, this is really asking ourselves. Capricorn deals with like our accomplishments, achievements, things along those lines, and it's asking yourself, what does success look like for you? What do you and your emperor status look like? Whether this is we want to work on to have better self-esteem, whether it's our career, maybe it's we're moving to a different place. What does accomplishment look like to you? And again, what do we need to let go of? What actions do we need to take in order to get to that state of stability, of accomplishment, of feeling successful? And I feel like Pluto and Capricorn is a very powerful energy, because Capricorn, you can't tell them they can't do nothing. It may take them a while, and that's another thing too. Is like it's a patient energy when you start dealing with like Saturn influence and things. But it's one that if we find that groove, it's going to be smooth sailing. It's setting our future self up for success here, but also on a more kind of global scale here, because Capricorn can deal with authorities and governments, and Pluto being the furthest planet away from the sun is bringing that darkness, up into the light. They're the one of the rulers of Scorpio, and there's going to be a lot of change and transformation that's going to be going on a global scale and on a personal scale too. It's going to be a very, very interesting time, I feel like, for the soul tribe here. Very very exciting one, I do think, as well. Challenges, sure, but growth, absolutely. Let's get some, and also depending on where your Pisces placements are at, because Pluto's going to retrograde up until the 27th degree, I want to say. So if you got Pisces placements in later placements, you'll feel this a little bit more. But yeah, it's going to be also forming sextiles with your sign, so the opportunity. And Pluto transits, I will say, if you do have a chance, because you've probably already been feeling this, Pisces, but this is one where sextiles and like these easier flowing energies, especially with the Pluto transit, can be a bit intense. Like they can lead to a great epiphanies and growth and things, but Pluto energy is very interesting how it'll go about. And because I just had a Pluto transit with my moon placement not too long ago, and he's just kind of getting started. So it's just something to think about there, Pisces. But let's get your last card here. See what we got here, Pisces. Interesting. We're finishing up with a little bit more air here. And that's fascinating here, Pisces. Because you got the 8th card of Libras here, which is the Blinders card. And before I kind of get into this, Pisces, it's just the energy here, just when we're talking about the boundaries and the communication and things, you have a couple of cards. One of Libra's aspects is that they deal with relationships. Aquarius deals with like groups and friends and the collective, and Cancer deals with the home space. And so I feel like that there is this sense of like evaluating these connections here. It's not that I feel like we're necessarily cutting people off, but if we have been, maybe even, or because your sign, being Neptune ruled, you could be a little elusive maybe sometime, Pisces, and listen, I got Gemini energy, it happens, and it doesn't feel like that we're just like ghosting people, but it just feels like that there's an energy here of just like being mindful of our connections, I feel like, with others here. But with this Blinders card, this is a card of victim mentality, confusion, tunnel vision, resist clarity, confirmation bias, restrictions, narrow focus, echo chamber, denial, oblivious, out of touch, hyper focus, and concentration. So the energy that's kind of coming through real strong here is the restrictions, but really the echo chamber is what's coming through here. And I feel like this echo chamber is more so like how I was just talking about all these people and these relationships. Maybe this is the energies of people that we've connected with over the years, or maybe even here that we may connect with. And I feel like it's being mindful of how they may be potentially maybe restricting us, or maybe even like kind of narrowing our view here, Pisces. It's very interesting here. it almost, this could maybe be like, again, like maybe at some type of job, or maybe even some people who take on this sort of like the more oppressive side of the emperor. And maybe we've been in this, maybe we've been in kind of this Libra energy of where we've been trying to keep the peace, and instead of ruffling feathers, maybe we just kind of turned a blind eye to things, or something along those lines, Pisces. But it does feel like, just I feel like with the Justice card, it almost feels like that there's this sense of needing to take action. It's interesting to take actions towards getting our energies back in line. How I was talking with like those infinity signs, in because sometimes maybe I feel like, especially when I'm thinking about this betrayal, the Ten of Swords, Nine of Swords, and things, that sometimes maybe we can feel that we want, even when we put up boundaries and things, we can still be wishing that, like, oh, I want them to get theirs, or, like, I hope that, universe takes care of that. And the universe will, just if we're holding these sort of like grudges or anything along those lines, Pisces. But I feel like we want to be mindful too of like wishing ill on people, or, we're hoping that they get theirs, because what we put out there, Pisces, we get back. So that's just something to be mindful of. But let's get some let's get some tarot on this. Thank you. All right. Last little bit here, Pisces. All right, Pisces. So you have the Two of Swords, the Four of Swords, the Ten of Cups, and then we have the Queen of Cups here. And let's switch back over here, Pisces. Because I feel like right now you're in a place where we're in a state of decisions, and like kind of like weighing our options here right now. This is the Moon in Libra, the Two of Swords here, and the Four of Swords is Jupiter in Libra. Like, I feel that we're in this energy of, so you have quite a bit of air cards here, a lot of swords that are going down, but I do feel like that, Pisces, if you do have been in your head, or if you do find yourself where the brain is just kind of running right now, let's see if we can take a moment and find some pause here, to get some rest, to figure out, to process. I feel like with the Queen of Cups, to kind of process all this stuff that's been going down. This is she's Cancerian energy. She rules the first two deacons of Cancer and the last of Geminis. And I bring that up to say is that she's one that contemplates her feelings often. She's one that's always thinking about what ways she can grow, and what ways that other energies influence hers. Because sometimes the Queen of Cups can be seen as a mirror of the other energies that surrounds her, and that's a lot. And it's paying attention to how that affects your Ten of Cups. It's making sure that we're taking time to fill up it's taking time to fill up our cups, and just check in to see just what energies we've accumulated, what have we been reflecting, maybe even possibly, and just, because even just how I was talking about with that echo chamber, just like, the what we listen to, as far as what other people tell us, what we tell ourselves, if it's in that lower vibration, then that's what's just going to keep echoing all the time, and that's going to, it doesn't take away from your abundance, but it just slows things down, I feel like, Pisces. So I feel like this energy is, really just when you get some time, as we're making these decisions here, just making sure that we're in a space of just like kind of calm, and that we're not even being from like a, acting from like even like a reactive place here, because just considering all the swords that you got, it's sometimes we can get stuck in our head here, Pisces. So I just feel like, just be mindful of keeping the blinders on and things along those lines. And this, maybe even for some, I feel like it's like if it's been like, others that have been kind of been like we've been picking up other people's energies, or been others people's words have been in our heads. It's like I tell you at the beginning, take what resonates with you, leave the rest with them. And if there's some that you're thinking about, what I like to do, I just throw it in orbit, and that way it's not gone. It's just when it's relevant, it'll pop itself back up again, and then otherwise it's just like bye. But just something to think about there, Pisces. But I think I'm gonna leave that there. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. That was very interesting energy there, Pisces. But yeah, if you like that or something, something resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and share this. If you're, because it's some really interesting combinations of energies here, like of how the people pleasing, or maybe even just like the things that we may have picked up over time. I mean, it's a lot going on here, Pisces. If one of our Piscean friends are kind of struggling, share this with them. Maybe this can help bring some balance, hopefully. And then subscribe, Emperors, and hit that bell button to get notified when I release videos each week. And then I'm on this meditation app, Insight Timer, maybe something to think about there, Pisces, free app. And I started a group on there called Zodiacs Raising the Vibration. And it's just a group to post positive affirmations, encouraging messages, things along those lines. And as the group grows, I'm going to start posting different meditations, whether it be guided affirmations or guided meditations, or binaural beats or ambient music, something along those lines. Or maybe do like Taking Charge with the Emperor, or, I don't know, I gotta think of something, because finding balance I do for the Temperance card, or, discovering strength with the, or whatever, apparently we have a meeting that we need to have, but all that, go check that out, Pisces. And then lastly, I don't think you got any, you got one of Cancer's Oracle, you got Queen of Cups here, let me not say that, not that you need her, but if you have any Pisces, obviously you got Pisces, if you got any Cancer in your placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, come on over to my other channel, The Chariot and Friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. We discuss lunar shenanigans, geek out over the Queen of Cups. It's a good old time. And all that housekeeping, down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here, so I can get you out of here, Pisces. And Pisces, you got the Ten of Wands here. You got all the tens, Pisces. You got the Ten of Swords. That's why I thought you got 4 of a kind here, Pisces. Jackpot. And that's where I feel like we're getting ready to get this energy to a close here. I feel like maybe for some of us, we're coming up. I'm going to get your Oracle card here in a second, but I feel like that with all these tens popping up here, there's an energy here of a really kind of like deep reflection of just like how maybe experiences where they've gotten us to, what do we need to close out, and what do we need to start fresh here, thinking about where our thought processes are at, where's our feelings at, how we've been channeling our energies. 10 of Wands here, your surprise card, and how that's affecting our foundation. 10 of Pentacles here, because that's really powerful here, Pisces. And so, and your ruler Jupiter is the 10th card in the major arcana. And so I almost even feel like that there's this energy of taking this control of just like ending a cycle, and really kind of taking control of we're kind of setting yourself up for success, whether this be through boundaries, or improving self-esteem, or maybe just getting out and moving the body to get the energies moving more, whatever this is, learning about different investments. But you are in if anything, I feel like it's limiting these opportunities. I feel like they're in need of, some sort of evaluation here. There's something that needs to get eyes on, but, and you got some lunar shenanigans here, Pisces. You got the waxing and waning card here. And I feel like that it's remembering that this life, we got to be adaptable with these energies, and which again, that's you're the mutable water sign. So it's remembering that, like this life, sure, it ebbs and flows and things, but you're going to get to that completion in the end. And even the ton of tougher cards, the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords, those aren't bad cards. They're the challenges that get us to 10 of Wands, or excuse me, to 10 of Pentacles and 10 of Cups. They all, it's a dance, like that those opposites. That's the whole point. We have to have a challenge in order to get growth, and then to keep that going. That's how, it's even like with how I talk about opposites. You and Virgo. Virgo can learn to tap into that more kind of intuitive, spiritual side, and not be so caught up in the achievement of 10 of Pentacles. It's all interconnected there, Pisces. So I'm with it. I like that. So I think I'm going to leave that there. You stay safe out there. All these people and things. And really, Pisces, take some time. Yours is a very sensitive energy. And so just take some time and, make sure that we are checking in. I like to tell Cancer this. We have, with our ruler, she goes void of course. And that's where I feel like that's the one time where she's not under the influence of anybody. She's just kind of like checked out for a while. And that's where I feel like maybe for some of us, Pisces, just kind of check out for a while, find that balance. Stay safe and then raise that vibration through the roof. Absolutely. Because this was an interesting reading here, Pisces. And I will catch you on the next one later.